you. Yeah, take that bitch. Hello everybody, that's right, you're watching Dust514, and I know what you're thinking. Ben, isn't this the second gameplay in a row that you're going to upload with this map? Yes, and actually, I usually almost always back out of this stupid fucking Caldari Research Facility map every single time I fucking play, but sometimes when I'm in a squad, I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll play it for you people. But, you know, I get this map more than anything. I really do. It's in the rotation more than any other map in this game. Every day that I log on to this map, every single day, my first match is on this map. I at least get this map as much as all other maps combined. It's not even fair. I get it all the fucking time. And I brought this up to CCP before when we had the train map. It was in the rotation a retarded amount. That map you would get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row, especially if you were playing ambush. It was just map after map after map after map. And now we get it like on a normal quasi-consistent scale. But there's some maps in this game we just really don't get at all anymore. For example, Manus Peak in Domination, or get it in Ambush. We don't get it anymore. We do get it in Ambush quasi often, but in Domination or Skirmish, we just don't get Manus Peak anymore. I miss 3-point Manus Peak. It's gone. But CCP needs to make these maps equal. They need to cut down on why certain maps are in the game more. To me, that just never makes sense. Why are we pushing one map way more than the other? And maybe it was for data mining, but you know what? These maps have been out for shit over 6-7 months now, maybe even longer. They got their data, okay? The map fucking sucks. This map specifically fucking sucks because it encompasses everything wrong with the fucking player base, and that's just people who want to camp and not try. People rather camp on the rooftops or in the rafters in this map, and it's like, how can you sit up there? It's so fucking boring. But there's no incentive to win in a pub match in this game, so I guess I can understand it. You know, pad your KD, do whatever it takes. So a lot of times I'm just running around on the ground aimlessly in a scout suit, not doing anything, because, you know, they're all upstairs. They're all, you know, 100 meters above the map, you know, either with mass drivers, lasers, and sometimes real rifles. You know, they're not really doing anything. And it brings me to the point of the developers of this game, and that's the topic of today's video, is they don't really do anything. The developers are very much kind of like the player base in this game, specifically on this map. They don't do anything, but at the same time, they do a lot. I don't know if that makes any sense. Very condescending, hypocritical, whatever they call that. On the forums in this game, and I encourage everyone to get on the forums. I encourage everyone to join the discussion in this game, because voices need to be heard, because the devs don't listen to the players. They really don't. CCP, in my opinion, is very much like a political group, a political person. They simply just ignore anything that's bad. If you bring things up or bring things to their attention, whether it be a bug, a glitch, a balance issue, if you bring something to their attention, they ignore it. No matter how many people bring it up, whatever, they ignore it. Specifically, bugs and glitches, they really do. They just flat out ignore them. They don't even acknowledge that, oh, hey, we are aware of this bug and glitch. We are trying to find a fix right now. We don't have one, but we're trying, blah, blah, blah. No, they just flat out ignore it. And a lot of people take that as, oh, that silence means they don't care about us. But they're very interactive with the community, the gaming community, especially because Dust specifically is such a small gaming community. Even Eve is a small gaming community. I mean, Eve's got a lot of quote-unquote subscribers, but I mean, as far as people playing it, Eve's not a lot. StarCraft is a lot. World of Warcraft is a lot. Eve, it's not quite there yet, but it's a small player base, and it's basically they only talk to you when it's something they can fix or are going to fix. Then they're like, oh yeah, here, CCP's, you know, is going to save you from this terrible problem. Here, we're going to fix it, and it'll be fixed at such, you know, things they know the answer to, they talk all fucking day. Things they have no clue about, they ignore them. You know, and the other half of the time when they're talking to you, they're trying to sell you something. That's just the way CCP is. People go to FanFest, and if you ever watch the keynotes for FanFest, they're like, okay, this is what we're developing in the game, this is what we're going to have. And it's all about how we're going to sell you stuff. You know, we have new t-shirt designs this year. We have little models of ships, Galente ships this year that you can buy. Books you can buy. For example, Dust, the last major update for Dust was a complete Aurum update. Uprising was the update out of quote-unquote beta, open beta. They took everything and they put it into Uprising. Uprising was supposed to have all the racial suits and blah, blah, blah. And eventually it did. But Uprising was about the game. You're going to have maps and a huge graphics update. You're going to have pretty much the release of the game. It wasn't fully released, but a lot of it was released. It turned into an actual game. That was Uprising. The War Barge update, which is supposed to replace Uprising, it wasn't like, implemented the War Barge in PC matches or whatever. No, the War Barge update just consisted of, here's a thing that is just an Aurum farm for us. And the War Barge is terrible Aurum farming. I mean, this game, as far as the pay-to-win concept, the Aurum Zynga, everyone knows these free games on the internet that they play. They always have microtransactions, and obviously the difference not using the microtransactions is huge. But that's all War Barge was. It was a new way to bring Aurum into the game. New, skins update. New way to bring Aurum into the game. Strong boxes. New way to bring Aurum into the game. All these major updates that they're like so happy to announce are just ways to bring Aurum use into the game. Ways to make money. And I have nothing wrong with that. But it's like, what have they done for the game? It's very frustrating. With the devs, and I think people get spoiled by that, because when the devs do talk to you, half the player base is like, oh my god, a developer's talking to me, blah blah blah, and they just like fanboy out, and you're not allowed to criticize them in any way, shape, or form, even if it's constructive criticism. You're just not, because they'll ignore you, but if you're persistent enough, they'll just ban you like from groups and forum discussions. That's just the way they are. But yeah, it's like, Where are the devs? Why are they so quiet all the time? And, they take vacation days, they do long things like that. And people get spoiled by that. And it's sad. It's sad that the player base is not getting involved with this game. It's very sad. And it's very sad that the devs are choosing to ignore problems in this game, large problems, lengthy problems, problems we've always had, like with frame rate drops and whatnot. Here's a simple fix for this game. The Galente Research Facility skirmish map, where Charlie and Delta are east and west on the map, and the large sockets behind those maps, that's 3 large sockets on the map. The Galente Research Facility itself, and then the 2 outside sockets, about 100 meters behind those sockets, are large socket fixtures that serve no purpose in the game. They're so far behind it, they're just stupid. It's a huge memory leak, and that map lags all the fucking time. That specific iteration of that map needs to be removed from the game. They simply won't do that. It's just mind-boggling. It really is. Maps that have lag on them, they don't do anything. There used to be a map in this game called the MCC Construction Center, and it took them months to remove that map. And it's like, it simply doesn't work. Everyone would spawn into that map, and everyone but like 2 people would fatal air off that map. It was crazy. I mean, right now the state of this game, as far as it being broken, is just crazy. However, there's new servers going in February, and I don't know if that'll help the problem or not, because CCP is quote-unquote, in my eyes, in my opinion, not capable of fixing anything. They're really not. You can give them a Porsche and they're still going to drive it into the wall because they don't know how to fucking drive. You can give them all the tools, but they don't know how to drive, and they don't have people to teach them how to drive. And it gets really frustrating. So instead of actually teaching people how to drive or learning how to drive in this game, or how to code in this game, or how to do anything in this game, they just figure out ways to sell people shit. Oh, we'll just sell them t-shirts, or we'll just buff nerf something, instead of actually fix it, we'll just make it, unplayable for one play style and make another play style completely overpowered, blah blah blah. And in the meanwhile, we're gonna figure out ways to have Aurum, and the player base is not getting involved with this discussion. They're eating it up, and it's they'd rather spend more energy on you know, being like a political person, you know, ignoring problems, spinning problems. I mean, this most recently, and this is kind of a more well-known one, I got into a huge discussion with GM Archduke about how this game was pay to win, specifically to Warbarge, and he was like, no it's not, no it's not, no it's not, no it's not, and I was like, cool, thank you for interacting with me. But he would like blatantly ignore the fact that, you know, if I told him, oh, level 8 Warbarge is available in the game, but it's impossible to reach without Aurum, he would ignore that. He'd be like, it's not impossible. I know players with level 8. No, you don't. I didn't say players, you know, that were level 8. I'm saying without the use of Aurum. The weight walls on the Warbarge is, that's as pay to win as you can get. It's pretty bad, you know, is the way it is. But, oh well. But certain features about map design and everything, it's just, they're not really listening to the player base, and at the same time they're trying to mold the game. I don't know what they're molding it off of. I don't know. They've never had a scope or direction with this game. I mean, if anyone's ever been a project manager in their life, and I've been it a few times, you would look at this on the outside and just say, this is a debacle. This cannot be. You know, heads would roll and there would be attrition and things would have to be fixed. I mean, it's just, simply put, this game, the way it's, you know, the project has been managed, it's just, it's wrong. It's not good. And, you know, they're properly not getting the information, and they're not utilizing the information, and it's basically, unless it's got something to do with making them money, they ignore it. And they're so good at spinning information and using their presence to wow and awe people like a magician, you know, a lot of smoke and mirrors. But, you know, nothing actually gets fixed, and it hurts the player base, and it just hurts the game. And it's like, you know, CCP had a great opportunity with this game, you know, and they're like, oh, we're gonna make it on Legion. And I have a feeling the reason they're gonna make it on make it Legion, I should say, or make it on PC, not PS4, PS3. One, if you make it on a PC, it's easier to port to other consoles. But two, this shows their infancy of how to make a game. They use the Unreal Engine, which takes a huge cut of any profits they make on this game, or I should say any revenue they make on this game. That was foolish. Sony and only using one console, blah blah blah, you know, very foolishly they went into this endeavor to build this game. And, you know, maybe if the game was good to begin with, they could have overcame it. But I mean, just at every level, this game is just, it's failed, and the amount of glitches and bugs in this game are crazy. But that's, you know, the devs are not, I should say, not taking the responsibility of building a proper game seriously. And basically, the only thing I can think of is people just need to get involved with the discussion. People need to follow the devs on Twitter, which you can do that. People need to go to the forums. And I'm not saying bitch or whatever, and eventually you will become a better vet, and you'll just start bitching in this game. I remember one time I sent GM Archduke a mail in this game because I was in a match. He was on the other team. He does play the game. There was 6 people on my team and 15 on his team or something like that. We were like redlined within a minute. You know? And it's just like, is this working as intended, bro? You know? 2 squads on your team, no squads on my team. You know, 50% outnumbered. Is this working as intended? You know? It was sad. And it's like, he played that entire game. He stayed there. And it's like, so they know what's going on, you know? And a lot of times, unless you put it in a video on YouTube, then they're forced to acknowledge it. But, you know, 1,000 people saying one thing, they just ignore it. They will just continually, blatantly ignore it because it makes them look bad if they acknowledge a problem. And it's like, you need to swallow your shame. The player base needs to get involved. The devs need to swallow their shame and actually do their job right. And that's all there is to it.